The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the big show. I am Larry Neal.
Hey, and I am Alex Wallace.
And we are the Spoken Token podcast. Mr. Alex, sir, Summer of Games is here, and how are you doing?
Oh, man, I am doing awesome. Yep, just living my best life here on my summer vacation, playing games and looking at games and trying not to buy more games.
Oh, good luck with that last one.
Yeah, it's real tough. It's real tough.
I mean, Summer of Games is upon us. We're kicking off Summer of Games, but that also means convention season is here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many more conventions now, but we're specifically speaking, of course, of the big ones for us here in the U.S., which would be Origins and Gen Con. And man, you know, all of the retailers and all of the publishers, whether they attend or not, they have all those wonderful sales going on.
Woo.
I know, man. I know. So, before what we get into with the show, is there anything else new going on with you, sir?
Well, you know what? The boys and I, we finally broke down and we tried Digimon, and it's a hit. It is a hit. So we have had a really, really fun time, kind of rocking and rolling with that one.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm so
I know. I'm pumped, and I'm amazed at how quickly and easy it plays.
Yes.
It's real good. You know, of course, there were some things that we had to sort of figure out that weren't. Because when you buy the starter sets, they don't really they only give you the rules in kind of like the cards. You know, there's like 3 cards, so you have to kind of search out for the different things for the full rule set and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was we really, really dug it. I'm
super happy. I'm super happy. I'm so glad to hear that, because we've yet to have it. So funny. For those of you who don't know, this one caught my eye when it launched, and I pre-ordered the Japanese. So I've got the 3 first original Japanese starters, yellow, red, and blue, and I got all of the promo cards that came with that. And obviously I didn't open them because they're in Japanese, so I'm kind of glad of that. But when the U.S. launch came, I did order a couple of booster boxes, and our venue got put on I guess a wait list, so I didn't get my Series 1 booster boxes until like almost a year later, and the Series 1.5 stuff. So I have 2 booster boxes of each, and the plan was for Alex and I to open those. We were going to play it with them as they were. We were going to build decks and kind of go plain Jane vanilla. Then we were going to dig into the meat and potatoes of, deck building, the deck building portion of it. And that just never, unfortunately, we couldn't get it together schedule-wise. And we've gone so long now that I'm not going to open those first 4 boxes.
yeah, man, they're pretty sought after right now.
Yeah, I'm going to keep those sealed for now. But I did get a chance at Origins that we're just back from while we're recording this late. It's my fault. Blame me, everybody. I managed to buy 2 more boosters, and I got some more starters, which is really, really cool. So I've got some of the pre-constructed starters that have a booster in them, and then I've got the 2 booster boxes. So those ones are the newer sets. So we will open those and we'll dig into those. And now Alex knows how to play it. So I was kind of hoping to kind of get the raw of us, kind of learning it and playing it together. But this is even better because we'll be able to just jump right in and dig right into it. So that is now definitely going to happen. So I'm super excited about that now that Alex likes it. He and the boys like to play. So we'll have a big old Digimon booster box opening and build some decks and just have a blast training and raising and digivolving and slashing each other. I can't wait. I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, a kind of an unintended benefit of it was I actually got to introduce my boys to the cartoon.
Yeah.
And so Ben has literally been walking around the house going, Digimon, monsters, Digimon are the champions. So much so that I'm like, stop it. Just stop. Just stop. I don't want to hear this anymore.
I love it. I can't wait to come by next time. But Ben, hey, can you sing the Digimon song for me?
No, absolutely not.
Can Uncle Larry hear the Digimon song, boys? Do I need to give you the pitch?
Absolutely not.
That is fantastic. Because, and you know what's funny about that? We used to joke about that because I watched it as an adult, obviously. I was married at the time. I can't remember how we found it. And actually, my ex-wife was the first one who brought it to my attention. And she liked the song.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be singing the song. And, of course, she's a singer. So, I mean, she'd be singing the song. I mean, she'd be singing it. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I'm annoyed or if this is cute. I'm confused. I don't know. But before long, it's so catchy. I'm like, okay. I'm a musician, but I've never done it for a living like she has. So as being behind her musically, I now get it. I get why the chords are structured the way that because it's catchy.
Yeah, it really is.
You gotta admit, it's super catchy. So fantastic. Well, this is our Summer of Games kickoff. It is a little late when we're getting this to air, and we appreciate everyone's patience. Like I said, I was at Origins this week with my full-time job, so that kind of threw us off a bit. But tell you what, man, let's get on into the show. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about and get into, and obviously we're kicking off Summer of Games 6, and so we will get started right after this break. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spoken Token Podcast, and this time, episode number 112. Alex and Larry usher in the Summer of Games 6 with our official kickoff show. Come with us this summer as we talk immersive campaign games and gaming. In this episode, Larry recaps this year's Origins Game Fair, and Alex and Larry both give their first impressions of some recent games to hit their tables, catch up on some other gaming news, and so much more. So, sit back, relax, and make sure you have your badge holder ready, and turn us up as we join your hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, into Summer of Games 6 Kickoff. It is the Spoken Token Podcast, and we are super, super excited. Mr. Alex, what are we getting into first tonight?
Oh, man. Well, honestly, let's face it. You have all of the really exciting things to talk about. But we're going to do some first impressions.
Yay!
Yeah, I've got something I was able to get to the table yesterday that I'm going to talk about. But let's face it, you're the one that has all the hot, juicy gossip, all of the really cool, interesting, super neat edge of the edge of tomorrow. No, what is it? Not edge of tomorrow. Like
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Yeah, there it is. Like, so you've seen the future that is consumer board gaming, and yeah, or at least what's coming to the consumers in the board gaming world. So we're gonna kind of tailor this first impression segment, at least for Larry. Mine will be a little bit more traditional, but Larry's gonna give us a first impressions Gen Con edition. So where he was able to sort of just Origins. Excuse me, Gen Con's coming up. My bad.
Gen Con's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
But an Origins edition where he's going to just say the things that he saw, what caught his eye, who he talked to, and what were some of his thoughts of the things that he got to engage with and or just pass by. So, all right, Larry, this is your time to shine, my friend. What can you tell us? What did you see? So I'll ask you this. Right off the bat, what was the one thing that you walked away going, oh my goodness, as soon as that comes out, I've got it. That is on my table. I'm buying it. So what is there anything that jumps out at you like that where you're like, insta-buy as soon as it's ready?
Well, honestly, yeah, and I left it. And that was the game that you were getting, which is Tales of Icarios.
Oh, Stars of Icarios? Okay.
All right. And one of the reasons why is because for a lot of you that don't know, traditionally at Origins, not many things launch at Origins. Most places do have, previews, and of course they're, coming soon or going to launch at Gen Con. This time, of course, I was working the show with my normal job with Van Ryder Games, so I didn't get a chance to walk around and ogle as much as I would have liked. Most of the time when I walked, it was with purpose, trying to find something to either purchase or trying to find something as a souvenir. One that's actually already out that did catch my eye, though, is Burn Cycle.
Okay.
And it looked amazing.
That's from Chip Theory Games, is that right?
It is. Yeah, Chip Theory, yep. And they had a nice big booth there, and they did have it for sale. It's not coming soon, and they had everything there. And I wasn't able to get around there to take a look at it.
What's the premise of this?
Chip theory is you are playing robots, your AI, and humans are basically the enemy. And somehow we have built these robots and we've made them, and they've gained some form of sentience. And of course, we've done what humans do. We have gone on and subjugated them. So they're trying to sneak into the factories to get their code back.
Oh.
So you're trying to you're trying to sneak in, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's hard to describe. I mean, if you've seen a chip theory game, you already know, but this one is just a whole nother level. And the visually speaking, the one that they had set up, the demo had because they've got miniatures that are brass.
Okay, yeah.
That with the magnetized bases. So the demo they had set up to look at had all of it there, and it's just so much going on, and it's just so gorgeous. And they had about 4 tables of people playing it at all times, so they had a lot of space devoted, obviously, in their booth to that. But all of their games, of course, are brilliant, and so their booth was quite large. So I got an opportunity to just kind of walk around and just look at that and be like, wow, okay. Architects of Rome hit the ground, of course.
Architects of Rome. That's the one with the really big, like the box is like the size of like 7 of me.
It's as big as your head.
Oh my gosh.
But it's gorgeous. And fortunately for me, we have a couple of coworkers who own it. So a couple of them went and bought it, and we got a chance to play it. That's one of the ones I was going to do, the first impression you wanted me to talk about.
Well, then let's just go into it. I mean, it's a natural segue. So, all right, tell me about Architects of Rome.
It is fantastic. So it's pretty simple in premise in terms of what it is that you're doing on your turn. When the game starts, everyone gets plots. You get cards that are plots of land, and you're basically building Rome. A lot of bookkeeping and a lot of those things have been taken care of. So in other words, when you want to build something, you just build it. Everyone's tableau has buildings, and they're polyomino, I think, are the shapes, are the basic shapes.
You mean this is Foundations of Rome, not Architects?
Of Rome. Yeah,
that's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, and this is I didn't realize that was Arcane Wonder.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this Foundations of Rome. Okay. All right. And continue. Yes.
And so when you start with a certain number of blocks that you own, and you have markers on your amazing player board that you put down and say, hey, I own this block. So the thing that you do during your turn, you can get money, you can build a building, or you can purchase a block out of the cards that are laying out that's on offer. And each of the card deck is split up into ages. So there'll be a first, second, and a third age. So some of the blocks that you may need to try to, make consecutive blocks to be able to do certain shapes may not come available until later. So you have to keep an eye on that. But you can only do one of those things. So your turns go pretty quick once you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So part of the beauty comes in the buildings themselves. The buildings themselves, on top of being beautiful 3D models, obviously, they do certain things. They all have powers that they give you. So they will give you either income or they'll give you population. Moving up on the population track is good because that translates directly into victory points. Obviously, the money track gives you more money, which lets you buy cards. The cards have a sliding cost from left to right. There are 10 money when they first come out. As you take a card out, everything slides to the right. So things get cheaper as they get passed over. And so, but, when something comes out, if you need it and if someone else is competing for it, you want to be able to have those 9 or 10, silver is what they're called, to be able to buy it. So you've got a few things to look at, and the depth sort of is interesting, man. As you get into the game, the curve, the intersection of the depth of what you can do and what exists, they sort of meet, in the middle. Because it's real simple at first. You're not doing a whole lot, but you don't have to. Right. But as you start to get a grasp on why you're moving the actions, why you may take a block this time, why you may build a building, why you may replace a building, more things have come into play. And we played it at 5 players. All of Van Ryder sat around that table. And I thought it was a blast. I mean, I know that there are people that like, shorter turns. And, there were some other things going on. There was a few distractions. So not every turn was going as soon as it was. Every once in a while, we tell somebody, shut up and play. So we had that going. But we had a blast, which, of course, is one of the main things. But it's like we all kind of got it. It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. At one point, AJ was like, so I see. Larry's my only competition. Rest of you guys are scrubs. Because like the first scoring thing, because when he was talking about the population directly translating to points, I was the only one that took population. So the first thing you do when you go through a scoring turn at the end of an age is you check population. Where you are on that track directly correlates into victory points. Mm-hmm. Nobody was on that track but me. If you don't build a building that has population on it, your marker in that area doesn't even move.
Okay.
So and AJ had caught it, and he had done a few other things. So he and I we were like, I think we had like 14 and 13 points, and everybody else was like 4 or 5. Literally, like everybody else. That's when he looked at the board and was like, so Larry's my only competition. Okay, I see that now. And I'm like, he just told us what was important. So yeah. But the next turn, everybody jumped on Pop.
Okay.
I mean, they jumped on it. But, your boy Larry had a different plan.
to lose significantly by not getting any points.
No.
Plan?
I may have won. I got inadvertently hosed. And AJ felt bad about it. He apologized for it. But it was kind of my fault. It kind of wasn't. I was looking at, because there are monuments you can put out. You don't play with every monument when you play with the monuments. Mm-hmm. Every game, you shuffle a deck, and then the ones that you deal out of the monuments that you pull. And I was getting ready to go for one of those that really would have synergized with what it was I was trying to do. And AJ asked me about it, and Evan was getting ready to make a move, and he looked, and he was like, oh, wait, what's that? And he literally takes it out of my hand, and he's like, sorry, buddy, I'm getting ready to play this.
Oh.
And AJ was like, oh, man, I'm sorry, Larry. I didn't mean to do. And I'm like, no, man, it's cool. But it didn't. It completely hosed what I was getting ready to do. It's got some really, really interesting mechanics. Nothing on it, I think, is too difficult to play. The experience that it is, I don't believe could be had in a different form factor. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you could get the base mechanics, but you wouldn't get the experience of seeing the amazing 3D, a diorama that you build once it's done, if you have flat cardboard pieces. And it wouldn't be, I mean, that's part of its, impressiveness. It just is. It's almost like Ogre DE in a way, or in that way, or Twilight Imperium, back in the day when it was in a coffin box. It's like part of its charm is, look how honking big it is. But then there's such an elegant gameplay to it. It's one of those really, really easy to learn, but it is going to be tough to master based on who you play with. Uh-huh. So I have a very high recommendation of this one. I was sitting there because like I told you, I waited. I was watching that when it was on Kickstarter. I had saved it and was watching it and had decided to do it. And just at the last minute, literally watching those last few hours tick away, I decided to just walk away from it.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I got a chance to play it. I would be thrilled to own it, but I really am glad I got a chance to play it. And they love it at work, so we'll get to play it at work.
It's pricey, isn't it?
It was $100. It was $100. There's a copy on eBay right now. Looks like for $100. I haven't checked it on BGG, and I'm not sure what the price is. I know that the Emperor edition was tipping $200 at the show.
Okay. And
that's the edition with the 5 players and the monuments.
I'm seeing it right now on BGG. It's no less than $300. So, but that's secondary market though. So, right. Hitting retail. But that looks like one, like you're getting and it makes me wonder. Like, yeah, you are getting. There is so much as far as like table presence is concerned.
Yeah, it's a master of that. A master.
Yeah, of absolutely. It makes me wonder, like, could this have been done? And I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just curious, like, could this have been done with cardboard tiles that look directly down? And it sounds like that half the fun is playing with these absolutely beautiful models.
It is. I mean, it's in terms of what's there game-wise, the 3D aspect of it all actually does lend itself to depth in the game. And it helps you to understand it, and it helps you to stop and think about it and consider it. And again, like you said, it's part of it. Every player has a tableau in front of them, and it's a player tray. It's a game trays tray, in their player color that has all of their buildings on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this big tray of these gorgeous 3D buildings sitting in front of you, and then you're all building them to this map in the middle. And the thing about that is at the end of the game, this game is as much about building that map and visualizing that map as it is about winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that with, to take that element away from it, then you just make it about the game. And, I don't think that the game couldn't stand up, but I know that it would be not the experience that it is now if it was done, in a flat, like you said, cardboard 2D way. These buildings they're fantastic. I mean, they fit together. We didn't have any problems. They don't need to be puzzle pieces. They don't need to click together or anything like that. It was fine. We had two, hotel lobby tables pushed together is what we were playing on. And we had room for everybody, and the table in the middle doesn't go anywhere, the board in the middle. But it is just overall, it's just such a wonderful experience.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. All right, so that's first impressions of Foundations of Rome. What else stood out to you? So that's so you're saying the one you can't wait to get was Burn Cycle. You played Foundations of Rome.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Was there anything there that you were like after? Was there anything there that just kind of like everybody was sort of just like fawning over? Something that like maybe is, a lot of times you see like at game days or, Gen Con or whatever, there's like you see a game, it's everywhere. Was there a game that you just know, no matter where you looked, you saw it?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Early on, day one, it was Return to Dark Tower.
Okay. Yeah, it's got a great presence.
Yeah, because it was there. And then the other one, I guess, is the one I brought home with me, which is Arc Nova.
Arc Nova, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you own a copy of that too, right?
Yes, I do own that. I do own that.
We need to get together because I've taken a run at that rule book a couple of times, and let's just say I'm glad Alex knows how to play it.
Yeah, it is that it's there's a lot to it. It is, the learning curve is steep, but once but it's not insurmountable.
For sure.
Yeah, and so I am. It wasn't horrible. So yeah, I've played it once. I played it with Luke. What the thing that I enjoyed it. I did get hit with the sort of the uneven, because there are so many cards. Yeah. I did get hit with the lack of available points that Luke got when he played, because of just the way the cards turned up. Yeah. And so, but I enjoyed my time with the game. Mm-hmm. It was I felt in it until the very end. Okay. I think it's one of those games that deserves the hype. I think it's got a lot of replayability. I'm excited about it. I enjoyed it. Again, I've only played it with two people, so we'll see how it happens. I think I'm gonna try and I'm going on a board game retreat weekend next week, so that you could have gone with, but you have to work and do stuff.
Is that next week?
That's next weekend, yeah. So, but that's one that we'll probably get to the table.
I thought I was trying to come up there late.
Well, you still have never said anything, so but we'll talk about that off the air.
Man.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think. So, kind of for me, one of the things that was the biggest thing that hit me, because this wasn't my first Origins, this is my first one working, but it wasn't the first time I hit the floor. If you were there, if someone was there, if you were going, this was a really good year to be there, to get access to what was available.
Okay.
To be able to move around and to be able to see everything.
Why do you say that?
Well, the way the crowds came in, there wasn't a crush. The numbers are down, obviously. I mean, there's no secret there. I'm not revealing any state secret. The numbers were down. There weren't as many people as normal. But also, too, it didn't really seem to be And I'm saying seemed to be, and I can say for a fact because our booth was close enough to the front door. I was looking at the front door every time they opened. Early on in the morning when the floor opened at 11, there was never a crush of people.
Okay.
Ever. Not one day. Not Saturday, not Friday or Saturday. And it picked up throughout the day. So it seemed like everybody, the people that were there were kind of on a, hey, we're going to get up. Maybe we'll see. Columbus was beautiful. The weather was amazing. It was 75 degrees. It was amazing. So maybe they were enjoying the weather and the food scene in Columbus, and they're like, yeah, we'll get by the con this afternoon. And it always picked up about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Between probably 2 to 4 to 5 was when it would be the busiest. But it's like we just looked up and it happened. It was never an all-at-once crush. So if you were there moving there, if you were there this year, and I'd love to hear from anybody who went, you were able to go around. I mean, we got an opportunity, a lot of content creators we got to talk to on the publishing side. And, they were able to walk up, and we had a meeting with some content creators. And because we're working on some things for Van Ryder, I won't really talk about them yet here, but we had a meeting at our demo table. Mm-hmm. I sat there as part of what I'm handling now for Van Ryder with the content creators, very well known, and AJ, the owner of the company, we're sitting there in the middle of the con at our demo table.
Okay.
Having a for real meeting, for real things were discussed and for real plans were made. So that was there. Getting an opportunity to meet fellow content creators was fantastic. We did get to see that. There, how it is at Origins, there's going to be a lot of aspiring designers and artists and all of that stuff. So getting an opportunity to see them come up and have time to, as much as they could give their spiel. It's not something that we do on the floor, obviously, in that instance and say, hey, give me your spiel. But, to get an opportunity to talk, and then AJ would pass them on to me, and then I'd say, give me your card. Yeah. We'll have to talk and deal later. But it wasn't a thing where I had to scoot them off. I was able to still make that quick connection and talk to them for a minute. Definitely hand them, my card and say, look, this is the, the plan moving forward. We'll converse in the months to come and we'll see how that works out. Mm-hmm. So basically make a connection. And me, I love the communication thing. So that was all really, really good as well.
Okay.
But it looks fantastic. I mean, like I said, we were there Wednesday to build out, obviously, and the people that were there, everybody came large. I mean, the banners were hanging from the ceiling. We were there, Arcane Wonders. The Wormwood booth, I can't believe I didn't get a picture of it. I'll take one at Gen Con.
Okay.
You have no idea. It was the most beautifully ridiculous thing you've ever seen. They were using power tools to put it together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it was wood. Real wood.
Yeah.
Now, somebody else, I'll say, what you said a moment ago when you asked me about, hey, did something stick out? Our guys over at Moonrakers, who I didn't get a chance to go talk to, their booth was in eyesight of ours. They were busy all weekend.
Really?
They had huge turnout.
The poker sort of space game, right?
I don't know enough about Moonrakers to talk about it from a standpoint, and I really want to because I've always loved the artwork and the fact that, of course, they're Nashville, but their booth was wood also, and they made it because I know they had done some. Yeah, they had done some videos on Instagram about putting the booth together, but they were so busy. I'm so happy for them. They were busy. I mean, by That's busy, awesome. I mean they had 4 tables playing. I believe they got a new one coming, and then they had Moonrakers up. Like they had 4 tables out at the edge of their booth, and then there was open floor space, and then they had their counter towards the back of their booth where they had built their big wood wall, and so they had those 4 demo tables stayed full.
That's awesome. That's been out since 2020.
I believe it's their new one because they've got another one. They've got a new game.
Oh, okay. So then, let's see. I'm just looking at their games. So Moonraker's The Shard. Okay, and then they've got a new one coming out called Mythic Mischief.
I think Mythic Mischief is what they were demoing, and it was super
Veiled
busy.
Fate. Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Yeah, they had a really good show, and it was really cool to see that. I got a chance to touch bases with Busy Air Games. We're hoping something will come of that. Just getting an opportunity to see, fellow Tennesseans obviously out there doing it and taking care of business.
Absolutely,
was really really cool. Got to get the new maps from Thunderworks. Got the 3 new maps for cartographers.
Oh man, yeah. So. Which maps are those? Because I know we got all the Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah,
that came in.
That's what I thought too.
But no, they have new maps even after that.
4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And I've already put them in my box, and I got the promo card that comes along with it. And each of them have cards in them. They look super exciting. One of them's an ice map. One of them is like a shops.
Okay.
So you can go and gear up. Yeah, so it's really, really cool. So I'm super excited. They're already in my big box. I had to bust them out of shrink and put them in the big box, starting to try to put the stuff away for the Origins Hall. But because
what else? So you got that. You got Arc Nova. Did you grab anything else? And Digimon.
Got some Digimon.
Yeah.
I got a. In fact, let me look it up so I'll give you the right name right now. I was just looking at these pictures. I picked up, those are pictures of me reacting to the bags in the Arc Nova box. They sent so many bags in that box.
They do. Yeah, it was well done. It was well done.
So I was reacting to that just off the cuff. Okay, here's the picture. So I got Space Corp Ventures, which is an expansion of Space Corp.
Okay.
Space Corp is a John Butterfield. It's a solo-only game that it's like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. It plays across 3 boards. And you're just what it sounds like. You're the head of a space corporation, and you start close to Earth. The middle board, you take that board away when you hit to a certain level. That board physically moves out of the way, and you put another board that's got Earth a little further away, and you're further out around the Coupier belt, and you're doing stuff out there. And then when you get to a certain age, you take that board away, and you get the further board when Earth is like a speck, and you're interstellar at that point. And you're just, you're trying to follow your company's dreams and do the things that you want your company to do. And it's solo only, and it is so good. It is so crunchy. There's so many boxes and so many little check boxes and so many chits to move and so many cards to play. I love it. So I hadn't seen Ventures in the store yet. I know it's been out for a while, but I happened across a booth selling GMT stuff, and I went on and picked it up. I also picked up the, what is this? Oh, yeah, I got some Battletech stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Catalyst's booth was to die for, and I would have died if I had tried to get all the stuff that I wanted. I'd be dead now. But they had all, for those of you who are playing Catalyst's BattleTech or want to get into BattleTech, I should have taken a picture, but I think it probably would have been gloating. They had everything. They had every mech pack that they have. They had all of them. They had the mats, the neoprene mats. They had all of them. They had everything. I've got all the source books that I want. I've got the base book. And until you and I or me and my brother get into it further, I won't go any deeper with the source books for now, because what I have is plenty. But, oh, man, the booth was so amazing. And they had the sponge floor that they put down. We have some, too, because, you stand around on concrete, and ours has the wood grain on it. But theirs has, like, the metal grate pattern on it. But it's
cool. That's fun.
But it's green and black, which is the color of their booth. So it's
that's
super amazing.
Super cool.
But I picked up a really cool mech pack. I picked up a Comstar. I know this won't mean anything to you, but I picked up a Comstar Heavy Command pack, which has just got a couple of iconic mechs in it that I just have to own in miniature form. And then I did get a neoprene mat. I got the Battle of Tuckyid, which is the pivotal battle in the lore. Just gorgeous. And I wanted to keep picking this stuff up, and I'm like, man, I haven't got a chance to play it yet with anybody, and I think it'll be a hit with you and my brother both, but like until I prove that, I don't want to go too deep crazy over it, but their booth was so amazing. Arcane Wonders booth was so amazing. It was just like, and then of course Pandasaurus's booth, so amazing. I happen to have all of the stuff there. Well, I mean, it's just all of their games. It just looked fantastic.
Oh, Dinosaur World, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it just looked fantastic. And I had the stuff from them that I wanted. So I didn't pick anything up from there. And I also managed to get my hands on, it was handed to me by, I don't know if you're familiar with Quackalope over on YouTube.
Yeah.
So he does the thing with the ducks. Sometimes they get in and they hide them. He hasn't done that in a while, but he was handing packages out with ducks in them, and I got one. He handed me one. Yep. So I got a pack, and it's really cool. It was very, very, very cool of him to do that, because it wasn't just that. There were some tissues in there. There's some candy, some cough drops, some emergency, which, yes, Larry did drink at the show. So it was really thoughtful. And just for you, Alex, it was in a sandwich baggie. No joke, it really was. But I got a chance to get that, and I was super excited. It was so funny because when he handed it to me, I saw the candy and stuff in there, and I was like, oh, man, thanks. And I saw the emergencies and was like, oh, you being thoughtful. You are my best friend now. And then I thought about who was giving it to me, and I was just getting ready to say it, and I turned it over, and I saw the rubber ducky, and I was like, oh, I'm never letting this go. This is going in my personal bag right now.
That's fine.
So, Jesse, thank you so very, very much for that. But, I mean, it was a cool time. I mean, we had the Rambo game close to us.
Oh, cool. That finally hit the table. Yeah, that's been out I've been working on that one for a while.
Yeah, I didn't get an opportunity to, I mean, they were literally to our left. I didn't get a chance to look at them as much as I would have liked. But, I mean, just, man, there's so much cool stuff.
So let me
I
ask
did
you
a
this.
really bad job of taking pictures because I didn't.
Oh, it's okay. Well, yeah. All right, so was there someone that you saw that you were like, oh my gosh, I know you? No, so, I mean, not like someone like that you actually know, but like maybe celebrity-wise or...
Jesse, Quackalope.
Okay, so that was your just kind of your like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, well, and not fully, because Keith Majetka was there, who was the designer, main designer and owner of Thunderworks.
Okay.
And so, and what's funny is that I guess he's got a close working relationship with Van Ryder. So he just like the first day he just wanders over because their booth was like catty corner to the left. Literally, he just wanders over when we were setting up. It's like, hey man, he's talking to AJ for a little bit, and everybody knows him. They all walk up to him, and I'm like, I'm getting ready to meet Keith Majetka. Like, he's like a work friend. This is amazing. So I'm like standing there in line, like, my turn. Hi, Keith. Love your games.
Did you know that I've played role players 7,000 times?
So it was really cool. It was really cool to be able to meet him. And we talked all weekend. I mean, he came over every morning. He was a fantastic neighbor. He came over every morning when we got there. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Larry. He had everybody's name, learned and stuff. And he's a really, really laid back guy. And so I really appreciated that. Meeting the Biziers too. That was cool. Obviously getting a chance. So any of the designers, and it would be
when you texted me that you had interacted with the Allspox, I was like, oh my gosh, what did you really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was. Yeah, it was awesome. So that was one of the, for me, I'm going to always hold this one special. Obviously, it's my first one working, but I really believe that because of the way the crowds came in, we all kind of got busy and they pressed on us at the same time. And then it was constant instead of a rush. We got a chance to kind of knit together.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of that walking on. I sold a copy of Final Girl, our second to the last copy of Final Girl. I sold to Ted Auspach's wife, Tony. And she had been by a couple of times and talked to her. I didn't know who she was. Mm-hmm. I saw the Bezier thing, around her neck, and they had really nice lanyards. So I knew she worked in the booth, and I saw the name Tony on the name, and it hadn't put together 2 and 2 yet. And then the day she bought, because she came over like Friday, and then we sold out a little bit after it. I guess Saturday morning she came over, and then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, duh, because she said it. She said, well, my husband Ted. I'm like, duh. This is man.
What I find so fascinating
was really cool
is just this idea that people who have had a significant impact on our life, from just
tremendous
from their creative work, like are now desiring what you have a hand in. That's what excites me about this whole thing.
Man, it's
is
tough
that
to
like
wrap my
something
brain
that
around.
you're connected with, like Allspoch. He did Suburbia, and
his credits are ridiculous. He is one of the world's foremost experts in Photoshop. Did you know that?
I did not. And well,
he was a product manager for them for like 18 releases. I think he's written 18 books, but for several releases, he was like the product manager for Photoshop.
Really? Wow. And just at that, like, it's one of those. I'm like, you look at him and you're like, oh, but you do the games that I play.
I know, right?
I mean, I like that. I got excited for you, just kind of because like his stuff is, Werewolf and Castles of Mad King let's see, is it Castles? It's Palace. No, it's Castles of Mad King Ludwig. It's the first one. And then of course Suburbia. That's just cool, So great, man.
His book list is like a real thing, like for real, like Macworld Illustrator CS Bibles for several years, Acrobat stuff, Photo Deluxe, Illustrator 9 for Dummies, Photoshop for complete. I mean,
that's awesome. That's super awesome.
Yeah, and of course, the ludology is just ridiculous, like you said.
Yeah,
the One Night Ultimate Werewolves, Castles, Werewolves Deluxe, Silver Bullet, obviously Maglev Metro.
Yeah.
Age of Steam. Just incredible stuff. So
you're when
right.
I shake your hand, I'll be like, "This is the hand that shook Ted Elspech's hand."
Nah, man, it's all good. It's still just me.
Well, so to kind of stick within the same vein, but not nearly as exciting and or informative, I did have a first impressions. I got to play one of the games that was on my shelf of opportunity yesterday, and that's one that I've been interested in for quite some time, and that is Bitoku from Devir Games. Devir, I mean, I guess it's Devir now. I think it's Devir. That's how it's pronounced. This is designed by Germán P. Millán, which I think is one of the designers of Red Cathedral from Devir as well. I'm wrong. That is not.
I'm so glad you self-corrected.
Yes, well, I self-corrected. That's the joy of BGG. So, all right, let's talk quickly about Bitoku.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
The first thing that drew me to Bitoku was just the sheer beauty of every component, from the design to the art to the wooden pieces, to the to the inlaid board. So it's got it's double thickness, so for us to kind of change some things out depending on player level. And so that was the first thing that drew me to it. And then I was like, ooh, that's pretty. And then the reason I picked it up is because I wanted a point salad game, and after playing, that's exactly what I got. It is a point salad game. So I am.
Gotcha.
And I'm not sure if I definitely got what I wanted, but I'm not sure if it's what I really wanted. So it is for every instance. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and ultimately, I don't know if this one will stay with me or not because of
surprise.
I know, but I played it at 2-player, and I think 3-player may actually have it might change it around for me. So I'm definitely giving it out hope because I want it to stay around because of just how gorgeous it is. But here my. So what may be a detractor for me might actually be a boon for someone else. But there are a lot of games have a really tight not economy, but a tight decision tree. So it's like, okay, if you can't choose decision, if you can't make decision A, then the flowchart's like, oh well, then you make decision B. Okay, and then some that have a little bit more variety, can do B or C. In this game, there is decision A, decision B, decision C, D, E, and F, and all of those decisions are to some varying degree, or they're they're a little bit better, a little bit worse, but they're all fairly equal. They just are.
Okay.
And so ultimately, you're getting points in a million different ways, but no particular way is the best. And where I struggled was I dropped my microphone.
And holding your microphone upright.
So yeah, no. So what I struggled with is there was never a clear choice for me to for what decision to make. It's like, well, I could on this turn, what's available to me, I could make this decision, or I could make this decision, or I could make this decision, and all of them have equal weight. So depending on what decision, and so which some people might really enjoy that. It's just like, well, whatever I feel like doing. But from a gameplay standpoint, when you're actually genuinely trying to win, because nothing that I was doing was inherently exciting, and so therefore then you just play to win, and playing to win, nothing that was out there was particularly like there was not a clear path of what decision I should be making. Now, one thing I will say is there's a really cool. I did like the action selection, and especially placing the dice. So that was a huge benefit for me. This one, like, so my first impression, and that's what I want to do, is I want to have a first impression. Yeah. Is that it is this game is a kitchen sink game. There are 6 or 7 different like mechanics going on. Yeah. That are all sort of doing one thing, but there's not one thing that's really jumping out as like this is what.
Gotcha. And how many other point salad games have you played?
I guess not a lot.
Besides point salad.
Besides actual point salad game, yeah. No, not a lot. Like I haven't.
So you haven't played a lot of fails. You haven't played Castles of Burgundy.
I know. So I have played Castles of Burgundy. I really enjoy Castles of Burgundy because.
What about Aquasphere?
I've never played Aquasphere.
Okay, I own it. I'll bring that with me next time.
Yeah, another one that I kind of think is a Feast for Odin is what I consider a point salad game because again you're just doing a million different things. But again, even with Feast for Odin,
there is that one too.
There is that sort of polynomial, like you have I need this to fit into here, and
that's a good point.
But here's what I would say: there's definitely a level at which I felt like I wonder if there's a particular if I wasn't doing it well enough, Sure. And so maybe I missed a clue or a particular strategy, of how. But I don't know. So it's not one where I'm like, yeah, I'll never play this one again. I do. It is like it's produced to the nines. But
that's a good thing.
Yes. But there are just pieces of it that I'm just like, this is superfluous. This and why? What's going on here? And so, but then again, I'm still drawn to it. It's beautiful. It has this allure to it that like I want to love this game, and so therefore I'm gonna give it a couple more games, which is more than I normally do for games that don't leave a really exciting. First play for me. So
and I think Feast for Odin is more of a worker placement kind of.
Okay, but I mean, but this is effectively a worker placement game. It's dice placement with some deck build, a little bit of deck building, like it's just a smattering of it. But then you're putting.
The first time I heard the term point salad as it referred to a game was about failed, and about specifically. Absolutely. Castles of Burgundy and then Aquasphere, which I actually learned the same year at Game Days.
Yeah, but again, there's just I think my final thought here is for my first impression. This game has so many things that you can do, and then so many things that it also forces you to do, and I think some of the things are just I feel a little tacked on. Like here's one more thing. But then again, there were some interesting interactions that at that point, those things that were tacked on became very intriguing.
Right.
But not often.
Gotcha. And for me, I think that's is paramount in speaking on design briefly. When you're talking about sitting down to play a game, obviously there's a little bit of the board game equivalent of suspension of disbelief, and that you're saying, hey, listen, we're going to play this game by these rules. As long as that's done in a fashion, I think, for a hallmark of a good design where everybody's okay with it and you're having fun. If you're having the thought process that you're having sitting there, because you could have that about any game, obviously, but if a particular game is put together in such a way that you're having those thoughts that you're having now when you're playing it, there could be some missed opportunities there. Because like I said, all of them require, some version of, hey, we're going to arbitrarily. Sheep means, winning. That's not
and see, I think there are so many arbitrary. I love that word. That's the word that I think personifies this for me. Yeah. Is that there are so many arbitrary decisions that don't necessarily have a clear you should be making this decision or this is the path you need to go. Yeah. It's just
level of meaningful decisions.
I will make this decision because why not?
That's fair.
And that's where I struggled with that with my playthrough.
I'm looking forward to playing it. I definitely want to play it. Hopefully before you get rid of it, if that even happens. But Western Legends made a big show at the show too.
Oh, with their what were they showing there?
Well, I mean, it was there, and then I saw it like the first couple of days. It seemed like a lot of people. The booth right across from us was a board game store.
Okay.
And they had copies in it. That was his first day. He moved quite a few of them.
Yeah, Western Legends, man,
and I saw it quite a bit. So,
I unfortunately I didn't back the box. I passed on it, but it's okay though. I have most of it. So I still think what they did with their rule book is one of the best things a company has done in a very long time. So companies who have multiple expansions, you need to pay attention to what they did, what Colossal did.
Right.
Western Legends, and that is consolidate all of your rule books into one hardbound rule book. So.
Not mad at it. Hey, let's take a short break, and then we're going to come back and get into some Summer of Game stuff and keep the show rolling. All right, we are back. And so what we want to do right quickly, we want to get into the Summer of Game stuff, the Summer of Games of it all. If you hopefully had an opportunity to go back and listen to our kickoff, then you know what we're going to be dealing with this summer. We're going to be dealing with games that you can play campaign of all summer long. Those are the titles that we're going to kind of dig into a little bit. This show was a little bit of a different, even though it's the kickoff, because we wanted to talk about Origins. But what I'm going to do, in honor of the Summer of Games, I'm going to play a campaign game this summer. And the plan is to get at least one played. And if I run out of what I own of it, then I will move on to something different. But I'm going to get into a game of Sword and Sorcery. And I'm going to play the campaign of that game. I have the base box that has Act 1, all of Act 1 in it. And I'm going to get into that. And I'm going to start over because I'd already gone in about 3 or 4 missions. And I'm going to start over and I'm going to play it. Of course, Aeon's End was there. I just got the Kickstarter. So there was a quick layup for that, but I really wanted to dig into something. I wanted to dig into some minis and move some stuff, and I was looking at buying something, and I said, wait a minute, I've got Sword and Sorcery, and if not for that, I've also got I've got Zia if I wanted to do that, if I want to dig into the space, but I wanted to dig into the fantasy, so I'm really looking forward
does
to
Zia
that.
Legends of a Drift System have a campaign mode?
I don't know. I was going to find out.
Okay.
I was going to find out.
Hey, you know what? That actually moves me into our next little tidbit. Is I think Zia Legends of a Drift System has the potential to really benefit from some user-made content, specifically campaign content.
I would imagine it does have it. Do we know that it doesn't?
I don't. I haven't actually looked at that, but I did want to take a minute or two and talk about our kind of our kickoff episode about campaign games. We had a really good discussion of what makes a campaign game, and one of the things I want to consider or suggest to you is to look at BGG, search the internet, Reddit, a lot of different places. Be careful because Reddit you can get fall down some really weird holes, but there is a lot of really great user-generated campaign content for a lot of games. But the one that just comes to mind for me that I feel is sort of the gold standard is Hex Crawl for Shadows of Brimstone. This is it's its own series of rules and a source book, if you will. But the purpose of it is to expound on what is already a smaller campaign game. So Shadows of Brimstone has a narrative book that you can take your characters through. But the Hex Crawl actually it takes all of the rules that are already there and then just adds some global rules to make your sort of your journey that much more grand. So it has tables for interactions and different things like that. Now, if you're playing Gloomhaven, you don't need something like this because Gloomhaven has that to that. Speaking of, if you own Gloomhaven or you're planning to ever buy Gloomhaven, Cephalofair just announced that they are kickstarting. Actually, it's not kickstarting. They're doing BackerKit's new crowdfunding source. We'll need to talk about that
at some point. Yes.
At some point, but not this episode. But they're doing the miniatures of Gloomhaven. So they're producing detailed miniatures for every enemy in the game.
Yeah.
So because if for those of you who've ever played Gloomhaven, all the minis are actually cardboard standouts, which makes sense because the game itself is already huge. But
and Frosthaven was behind Velvet Rope at the game.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Gosh, that box was huge. I think that box is actually. It might actually be bigger than the
it is.
Foundations of Rome.
And no, it's bigger than the Gloomhaven box though.
Yeah. But
let me clarify. They were playing it behind the Velvet Rope. It was they had a copy there, and on the back side of their booth, they had an area roped off. They actually had tables of each, and they were playing it on 3D terrain.
What?
Yep. And I can't remember what you had to do to get into the queue to be able to do that. But yeah, they were running games all weekend. They actually had Frosthaven there to play, just the one copy. But the table looked amazing. I can't believe I'm sitting here now thinking can't believe I didn't get a picture of it. It was incredible. But yeah, It was a 3D terrain, frosty looking. The Gloomhaven one was the same 3D terrain, a dungeon, and they were sitting right beside each other. But yeah, they were both behind Velvet Ropes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and now again, Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, you're not going to necessarily need expanded content. But let's say maybe you have a Marvel Champions, okay, and you are looking to like you've played a little campaign box, that typically give you 5 scenarios, but you play bad guys. But there is Marvel Champions. There are like scenarios and or campaigns where they'll say, okay, play this villain, then add this card in when you're done, and things that people have created that just get more content. You get to create grander stories that use the same information that's in the box, but just expounds on it just a little bit more. So I would encourage you to, if you have a game, like there are games that aren't even campaign focused that have user generated campaigns. Like I feel like I've seen there are like Catan campaigns. So you can they're way bookkeeping of between games that
I love it.
And so there are things like that. So if you have a game, I'm pretty sure there is that you love that there are user generated campaigns out there, and a lot of those are quite good. Because you have budding designers who are like, let me take a crack at this or something, and I think that's something to research. Yeah. But again, I want to say just reiterate the gold standard for me is absolutely going to be the hex crawl for Shadows of Brimstone. Yeah.
So are you going to try to run something this summer?
The problem with Shadows of Brimstone for me is that game takes up a huge amount of space.
Well, not just that. It could be anything. You've got some other.
Oh no! You're saying? Oh yeah. No. Shadows of Brimstone. I was able to. Yeah. But no. All right. We'll talk about that later. No. I actually am. I am really enjoying the Lord of the Rings, the card game, as sort of my living card game of choice, and it has a campaign mode built in. And so when you suggested that, I was definitely. I think that is going to be my campaign of choice.
There we go.
Because I finally sort of found some decks, archetypes that I really enjoy, and so I think I could really get behind that.
Well, we'll do it this way.
There. Okay,
we'll do it this way so we can keep it interesting for both you and I, and for the listeners. So what we're going to do moving forward is we're going to give a play report of our most recent session, and you can be as creative as you want to be. So if you want to do voices, the whole nine, man, I got your back. That's right, folks. You heard it. We're gonna give session reports of our campaign games because we want to share life with board games, and we want to share our times, going through it and what it was like. So I'm thinking about it myself, and my schedule is super busy, but I'm definitely going to do this. For one, I really, really enjoy Sword and Sorcery, so I want to commit to it. Mm-hmm. And secondly, it'll just be neat to work on producing something to present here on the show as we move forward throughout the summer. Just again to demonstrate to people, hey, now is the time when you have the time. At least in the Northern Hemisphere anyway. In our hemisphere, it's summer. I know it's winter in other parts of the world, obviously, but for now, summer vacation, anytime that you've got those extended breaks for board gamers, let's dig into some campaign games. So there we go. Summer of games. Super duper exciting stuff, my friend. Mm-hmm. Super duper.
Super
duper duper. So, one more short, quick break, and then we're going to come back with our first installment of the Summer of Games Game Choice, which is a game for you to come out or go out after you finish listening to this and pick it up and play it and have fun. These are Larry and Alex approved, and we'll be right back after this short break.
And we are back.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is the section, like we said in the teaser, that these are games that are Alex and Larry approved. Go out, guys. Pick these up as soon as you finish listening to us. Get in the car. Listen to us in the car on the way to your FLGS, or cruise on over to your online game store or wherever you get your games. Buy these games. Take them home. Break them out. Play them tonight. You will not regret it. With a lead-in like that, I'm glad I'm not going first. Alex, what you got for us?
Yes, my game of choice is Letter Jam by Czech Games. So Letter Jam is a really clever sort of cooperative word guessing game. It's ultimately everyone has. You get 5 cards of different letters. You try and make a word. Then you shuffle those cards up, and you put them out one at a time in front of you. So it has kind of this like Hanabi idea where everyone in the circle can see your letter, but they can't. But you can't see your letter.
Got it.
And then there are some other ones that are put out there that are kind of in the general supply. And then everyone goes around the table and says, "I can make a 4-letter word with what's out here, or I can make a 5-letter word." And then you put out these numbered tokens, and so then you're able to see like, oh, okay, most likely they spelled the word. Let's say maybe the word is waffle. So there's 6 letters, but you're missing a letter, but you can easily tell it's waffle. Oh, but I'm missing an L, so most likely my card is an L. And when you think you flip over a letter, or actually no, you take the letter down, you put it down, and then you write down what all you think your letters are. And then the final thing is you actually have to unscramble your letters and try and determine the word that you wrote. So it's got a lot of things going on for it. It actually has an app that you can use, but it's not necessary. It does. So this is one of those. It is app assisted, not app dependent, and it does quite well. It's a great help. But if you like word games, this one, man, and like it's a clever little game. Definitely, it tickles the brain pan, but it's families can play it. So I say go out and get this one. It's easy to get, and I think you could have a lot of fun just sitting around a table, writing on pads of paper, trying to figure out whatever his word is. So that's Letter Jam by Czech Games, and it was designed by Ondra Skoupý. Yeah, maybe. So
okay. We're sorry. So my game is one that I was going to most likely get around to talking. I was going to recommend it, and I just decided to go on and open with it because of things that have happened recently that I'm super excited about. And that is the Digimon card game, the 2020 edition, the one that Alex and his boys have just proven is fantastic and kid and parent approved. Go out and pick yourself up a starter. They're coming down in prices now. The ones that are releasing the latest starters, you can get them for about $15. Here in the U.S., the starters are going to be 50 cards, which is what you need, 54 cards, which is what you need to play. Your starting deck, your little Digitama, which you get the game, you'll understand what that means, and a booster pack. So you'll get one.
No, they do not. They do not come with booster packs.
Depending on which one you get.
Well, the two that I got did not come with booster packs.
Oh, you got the special. You got the new special ones, right? I saw them. You got Gallantmon and Vidramon, I think. The two.
Yeah, the red and the blue deck.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
but I will say
there are special level ones,
okay.
but the basic ones, like so the last 3 basic ones were green, black, and purple.
Okay.
And the first 3 were red, blue, and yellow. So those 6, and the green, black, and purple are the ones you can find now. Those do come with a booster.
Okay.
The ones you got are the special ones because those have some really nice cards in them.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. Like the card quality is super cool.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. The artwork is fantastic and the whole nine. So
it's the Gallantmon and Ultra Force Vidramon.
Ultra Force Vidramon. Yeah. Ultra Force, and those come with extra super rares actually. I think each of those have 3 super rares in them.
Yeah, well, the holos in these games are some of the
phenomenal.
Best. Yeah, some of the best cards I've ever seen.
Yeah,
so.
and that's one of the reasons why the ones like that, those are put together. Those are higher level starter decks, which you guys have.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's the reason why those are expensive and why those don't come with boosters. But even still, I mean, you can get the standard booster. The booster here in the U.S. and in Europe is the standard 13 cards. Of course, if you're in Asia and in Japan, their boosters are only 6 cards traditionally. So they are cheaper, relatively speaking, but obviously it's because there's fewer cards in them. But in Europe and the U.S., if you're listening, it's a full 13-card booster, like what Pokemon does here in the West as well. But go and pick that one up, as Alex can attest. It's a really quick-playing game. If you're into the Digimon franchise, I know there's a big video game coming out here in July. It's had a bit of a resurgence, Digimon. It has, not just because of the card game, but even the movies that it's doing. There's some movies going around. You can get into that. So there's a lot of content there for parents, for you to dig into with your kids, obviously, too. I will say this about Digimon. One of the main differences between Digimon and Pokemon. Digimon, by the way, the game itself is credited as being designed by Ryan Miller, and of course it's published by Bandai. The differences in the artwork, so for parents of younger children, just be warned that Digimon did not put the cute spin on its monsters.
Correct.
And that's kind of one of the big differences between it and Pokemon. Pokemon's monsters have to be cute, above all else, and Digimon and digital monsters. Some of these things look like monsters. So just be made aware when you're looking at the animated show that released here in the U.S. first back in the early 2000s. I think that one's totally safe. A little research that I did because I wanted the boys to watch. We ended up finding,
but what you want to shoot for is Digimon Adventures.
Yes,
and that is the one that I remembered that actually is fairly kid friendly. That's the one that premiered on Fox in the when we were, I think it was 99.
Yeah,
I want to say
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that one was aimed at kids, so that one's safe. And then if you've got older kids, there are movies that have been releasing in Japan. You can get them on streaming here. Older kids being teens, 13, 14. It's nothing beyond what they can handle. By all means, the storylines are compelling. I personally believe the storylines are way more compelling. Way off topic now, talking about the lore than Pokemon is. But again, though, that's just for me. That's part of added value to this product. The game is really quick. You'll be able to play a game in 10 or 15 minutes. You can pick it up. The rule set has been evolving and growing, so you're going to have to go to Bandai's website anyway. Yeah. As Alex alluded to in the beginning, you're only going to get the 3 cards with the basic rules. And depending on what set you get into, so let's say you go out and you find a green starter and a black starter, but then you find boosters for the latest set, which is BT8. There's rules that won't be covered in those starters. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to go, to Bandai's site. So be prepared for that, to get the latest rules, to get the keywords. And it's just keywords. Yeah. They don't change a whole lot of, the way things go. It's just the keywords that change. But there's so much there. There's such a wealth of cards. Now that we can get it, and it's in the stores and it's in distribution, the prices have come down. So it's cheap. Like I said, you can have starters for $15 to $20. That's enough to play. Get yourself some boosters. You're good.
One last little plug for this that really caught me off guard is this is not a Magic or a Pokemon clone.
No.
This does something specifically with the memory. how it's a system in which like was so surprising in its implementation that I was like, wait, what now? So when I first played it, I was like, this is bananas.
I love it.
Then
I love it.
As we began to play with it, it was so refreshing because you always get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But then there's also some, drawbacks and, I just want to say that if you're someone who likes, let's say you enjoy or always wanted to figure out what Magic was or Pokemon was, but you're an avid board gamer, I think Digimon is a great step into the TCG market because it's really. This is the new one, of course. This is the revamped, re-released 2020.
Released 2020, yeah. And
so
what he was talking about is the memory gauge system. Basically, what that is it's 2 counters that go up to 10. They meet in the middle at 0. Whenever you do something, it costs time, and the time costs are there on the cards. You move the marker that number of spaces towards your opponent's side. If your turn ends, or when you move the marker, if it moves beyond the 0, if it's on your opponent's side, then you get to finish your action, but that's the end of your turn. Mm-hmm. But how much time that you left, that's the amount of time that your opponent has to do things to you. And then, of course, it moves back and forth. So like you said, if you only get 3 memory and you want to play a Digimon that's going to cost you 6 time, you can do that, but you're going to end up only doing that, and you're giving your opponent 3 memory right off the bat. Or the bigger costs. Let's say you want to play a 9-cost Digimon.
Yeah.
So, and you've only got 1 memory. So you're going to give 8 memory to play with.
Yeah, and that's such a cool thing because there are ways that you can mitigate that, or you can even say like, oh, I'll just play a bunch of small things and then get it to where they only get 3, and so then if they want to put something big, you're actually reaping the benefit of that. Yeah, it's a really elegant way to deal with paying the cost of things. So I just want a little bit of plug for that.
Very cool, very cool. Well, that's my game, the Digimon card game released, or TCG, that released here in 2020. That one is credited as being designed by Ryan Miller, and of course, it is published by Bandai here in the United States and around the world. So, that is 2. Wow. We have made it to the end of the first show. We've kicked it off. We've given you guys a little bit of a taste of the Summer of Games, a little different because we had Origins. We'll do the same thing for Gen Con. We'll have more, hopefully, of an update up there. We will. It'll be me. I'll pull some more information. But we thank you for being patient and for spending time with us and for coming to listen to us. We're excited, as ever, about the Summer of Games. We hope you guys get there and sit down across from the people that you want to spend time with and play some games this summer and just enjoy it and enjoy yourselves and have a great time. So, for Spoken Token, that is
Alex Wallace saying, keep playing.
And this is Larry Neal saying, keep communicating.
This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you'd like to interact with us, please contact us through email at thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com, on Instagram at The Spoken Token Podcast, on Twitter at The Spoken Token, or on Facebook at The Spoken Token Podcast. And you can reach us through our BGG Guild, number 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.